Hi everyone, and welcome back to Creator in Conversation. So this is a first for the podcast. What you're about to hear is the first of a two-part episode. Joining us in this episode is Mr. Anthony Marques from the Joe Kubert School. My apologies, Anthony, if I'm still mispronouncing your name. For so long until we met, I kept calling Anthony Marques, and then we were trying to figure out what his name would be in Irish, and I think it was Eamon, so that completely confused us in the long run of it. But Anthony is the president of the Joe Kubert School, and he's also a brilliant artist as well. And joining us today, he is a interview style conversation that we did live from Dublin Comic Con in March 2025. So myself and Anthony just took a beat to sit down in the TASQ room. We had just finished up doing portfolio reviews with Brittany Hosier from DC Comics, and Anthony just took a moment out just to talk about his career in general, talk about his interests within the field, and you really get a great sense for his passion. Now, as I mentioned, this episode is in two parts. The reason for this is that after Dublin Comic Con, Anthony was joined by Emma Kubert, who will be also appearing in a future episode, and Brittany Hosier as well. They joined us live at the Academy to do a special walking breakfast. So what is the walking breakfast? If you listen back to, it might have been episode 8, it was actually an episode featuring myself. Walking breakfast is hosted at the Edge Dublin, where our campus is based. And it's where local entrepreneurs and guest speakers are invited to share their stories. This is a very special edition. It took place the day after St. Patrick's Day, and Anthony and Emma took a live Q&A from an audience at the Apex, which is located at the Priory Markets in Tallaght. So at this point of recording, the Priory has yet to be open, but when this episode is released, it will be open to the public. So I invite you guys to check out the Priory, and if you have Priory Markets, and if you can, if you ever have an opportunity to attend an event there in Apex, I wholeheartedly endorse and invite you to do so, because it's a wonderful, wonderful venue. That episode you're going to see in the next episode to this one, and it will come with a video component. So I highly recommend that those of you listening to this episode, for part 2, I recommend checking out our YouTube page. That's again TASQ Art, TASQ ART, and you'll be able to see the live demo that Anthony did in that particular episode. For now, live from Dublin Comic Con, sit back and relax and enjoy this episode with Anthony from Joe Kubert School. Okay, everyone, so here we are now at Dublin Comic Con March edition 2025. Joining us here today is Anthony Marques. Am I pronouncing that right?
You know what? You get points for trying.
All right, go on.
No, hey, look.
Let's fix the pronunciation.
We're in a different country. You're doing a great job. It's wonderful. We say Marques back home.
Marques?
Marques. Ooh, this is going to be fun. It's got a little tongue twister going.
There we go.
There we go.
You see, I'm annoyed now that I told you how to pronounce my first name now, because that could have been my ace up the sleeve.
It's all right. See, don't worry. I messed that up the first time we chatted. I was calling you Ian, and you're like, no. It's Owen. And I was like, okay. And I still think I'm butchering it, to be quite honest.
No, it's perfect. And you know, it was great. Brittany Hosier was doing follow reviews here, and I didn't pick up on the time she said Tallaght. I was like, funny. Sometimes the name when is intimidating.
When we were leaving the airport, I was like, yeah, so, we're starting in Dublin, then we're going to Tallaght. And the guy was like, huh? Where are you staying? Where? I was like, Tallaght. And I was like, it's got a GHT at the end, Git. And then he was like, Tala? I was like, no, that's not right.
Do you know what it is? That's a lot of our nameplates. So when you go around, you'll see Irish, then you see English underneath. But Tallaght is spelled phonetically, so that's where O-W-E-N comes from, because that's the phonetic spelling of E-O-I-N.
Oh, very nice.
So, but Tallaght spelled in Irish is Tamhlacth, which is Taulacht. Which means burial place, because the founding myth is that the Greek prince Partalon, after he killed his father, fled, being pursued by his brother, landed in Tallaght, and then a plague wiped him and all his followers out. Yeah, so it's some real history in the area.
You got some. That's a good horror film just waiting to happen.
There you go. That's it. We start writing tomorrow. I don't know. Have you heard about Postergate yet?
No.
So I do the printing for the show.
Okay.
And you had just messaged me about, Owen, should I bring a banner or not? And
Oh,
I was like,
yeah.
yeah, no need, because we print A0 banner. I never got the A0 banner. But at 6 p.m. last night, after I dropped off the banners, I discovered that they printed 15 A0 Anthony banners, and none for the guests, which would have been fine, except apparently we're under contract that the actors need a banner. So we had like some last minute panic midnight printing going on, and yeah, that was.
So are there 14 other banners?
There's 14 other banners.
Can we start hanging them up throughout the show?
You know, for the laugh, I would really like for tomorrow, if we can get them and place all the. I wouldn't do it with the media guests because that might get me in trouble. But for the comic guests, we should just replace you on.
I want to put them out on the street.
For the St. Patrick's Day parade.
For the parade. Everyone's going to be like, this is going to be some incredible marketing. It's going to be great. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that'd be it. Everyone, it'd be like the episode of Simpsons, Gabbo, Gabbo, Gabbo. Everyone like, who's Anthony? What's going on? And so I suppose just to get down to the brass tacks of it, let's do it. What's your secret origin then? Were you always a comics lover, or was it something that you came to from an auxiliary career, or was this like, no, this is my North Star, this is something I've always wanted to do?
I was a big comic book fan. I mean, I really started off because of Superman the movie, and comic books were great when I was a kid. In particular, like really interesting things going on. And what I'm talking about then was, in 1989, you had Batman the movie come out.
Mm-hmm.
That was really transformative and really cool to see, and got me really hooked into it again. I remember going to the movie theater, and when you walked in through the doorway, they had changed it to look like you were entering the Batcave. So then I built all like, what are the stalagmites, stalactites, whatever they are. And that was really cool. And then as I was getting a little bit older, and then we had the death of Superman in 92. And then you had Bane breaking Batman's back in 93 or so. And it just felt like something big was happening all the time. And it just got me hooked into it. And I wanted to do it. So I just started creating my own little comic books as a kid. And I would cold call Marvel and DC all the time, and I would just talk with different editors on the phone, and they were really nice and never hung up on me when I would call. So like Jim Kruger at Marvel, who wrote Earth X and all this other great stuff, and did a book called Foot Soldiers over at Dark Horse, and then Chris Duffy was the editor over at DC, and they were very kind to me and made sure that I was heard, and they would chat with me a little bit. And then from there, kept drawing and drawing and drawing, and until eventually I went to the Joe Kubert School when I got older. And pretty much I've just been drawing ever since.
And isn't that insane how you went to the Joe Kubert School, now you're the president of the Joe Kubert School. So that must mean like a second leg to the story of your career. What's it been like seeing it from the different side of the table then, from being student to now being teacher at the school?
Well, it's funny that even when I was at the school, when I was a student, I always was paying attention to kind of how things were operated. I like to pay attention to this sort of stuff in general, so I'm always listening to people to kind of get insight on what's going on. But of course, there's just things that you're not aware of when you step into that sort of a position. And it was great, though. Going in, we really pushed very hard to update the curriculum, program itself, the building, the materials that are being used, technology, even the programs. We've created so many different things like the online studies, advanced studies, summer intensives that we were teaching in different states throughout the U.S. I mean, it's been really wild. My wife created the whole community outreach program, so we teach throughout the state for free to different groups. So this way they're able to learn and have some fun. And we're always pushing to do more. So it's something that I loved. I love the school. So it really wasn't as hard as you would think it would be.
Yeah, no. And with regards to, you were saying there's a lot that you don't expect when you take on the job. Me teaching, like anything in the creative field, it's like when it gets to the grading process, we use like a metric and we try to break it down to a numerical system, a qualitative system. to give back feedback to the students as well. This might be a bit too inside baseball for anyone who's not involved in education who might be listening back, but what's it like for you guys when you go about grading then, when you have to like, how do you look at a comic page and go, well, this is an A+ and this is a B- then?
Yeah.
What's the approach the teacher's approach?
So, I mean, you have to pay attention to effort. Are they hitting their deadlines? Are they adhering to what's being given to them within the script? At a certain point whether or not a student is phoning it in, or they're just rushing through the assignment. So you take that all into account. But then the way that I like to grade is I give the students 2 different grades. I give them the regular classroom grade, based on are they paying attention and doing what's being asked of them, hitting deadlines, etc., like we were talking about. And then I give them the very brutally honest, hireable, unhireable grade. And that's from an editorial point of view, where I'm looking at your work and I'm telling you whether or not you're ready to be able to get actual professional work. So this way it breaks it down to, okay, yes, you're doing everything that's being asked of you. You're doing a great job. Okay, I might not give you an A, but you might be able to get like a B+. But then, all right, now I'm going to tell you whether or not you're hireable. And that's just, you either get a U or an H. Unhireable, hireable.
Very good. I like that approach onto it. It's true, like deadlines, it's so funny. As soon as I finished school, I was like, I'm never going to worry about another deadline again. Then I got into publishing and I got into education. And then the deadlines are just as bad for teachers.
Yeah.
You have to return the grades back to the students as well. It's like a never-ending battle. And when you were a student yourself at the Joe Kubert School, who were some of your teachers at the time?
Sure. I mean, we had really great teachers. Fernando Ruiz was the first teacher that I had on the first day of school in the morning. He's become a really great friend and mentor in general. I had Andy Kubert, Adam Kubert, Joe Kubert. Joe was really great. Alex Stevens was a fantastic teacher. Gabe Bridwell. There was a Kim DeMulder. They're just really, really great individuals that I really enjoyed learning from, and I feel bad. Hi, Eisman. I don't want to miss out on anyone because
I put you in the spot.
Yeah, that's the hard part though, is because the way that our school is set up is you have 10 classes a week, right? So 2 classes a day, 5 days, and each class that's taught is something different. But you learn a lot from each instructor, and then they're all working professionals, they're all working in the industry, and they're able to bring in different things to what they've done throughout their careers and bring it into the class. And so, like I said, I like to pay attention and listen to what people are saying. And so you're able to learn a lot from each individual and the way that they kind of went about their careers, and then apply it to your own to, get work. It's the whole point. So I can't say that I even have like a favorite or anyone, but I would be disappointed if I didn't name all the instructors, and there's about 20 instructors that are there, and they're all fantastic.
No, it's great. And was there much in the way of, and is there still the way of collaborative work, like group projects? Because I suppose when you teach comics, it's a pipeline, it is a collaborative medium. So would you ever find yourself in a position where in your class there's like one students are writing, the others doing pencils, inks, or do you take it on an individual basis that the students walk a mile in the shoes of each role?
So you have different opportunities throughout the classes, right? So, for example, one month you might do a trade-off assignment in ink in class, where you have to pencil something and then trade it off with another student, and they have to ink your work. But then, as you're kind of going forward, you might be drawing 6 pages for the narrative class, and then working with the inking instructor, and then having the opportunity to ink those pages in there. But we want you to learn every facet of how to do this. So we're trying to strengthen all of the muscles, so this way it makes you more hireable once you graduate.
No, it's great. It's with regards to transferable skills, do you notice much in your graduates going straight into comics, or do you find themselves into different fields as well, such as storyboarding, film, animation, television, and games?
I mean, we have students going into production work. So right now at the Kubert School, what we've done is, this is another thing that we're really proud of, is we do work for DC, actually doing production work for them. So we're reconstruction work. So this way we're able to get our students hired and starting to do it while they're there. And that's a wonderful way to kind of break in, get to know people, build up your contacts. And that's been fantastic. And then we have students that sometimes even go into tattooing. There's a bunch of different ways for them to kind of go into things. Alumni in storyboarding and animation. We have folks over at Pixar and Fox and Warner Brothers Animation. So we're really all over the place.
Yeah, it's really
Newbies are everywhere, man.
it's amazing way like the path your career can take you. When I was teaching animation, I had someone from neuroscience sign up for a certificate in animation. I said, "Why are you studying animation? Like you're more qualified than I will ever be." And they were like, "Well, I deal with such specialized procedures and talk about medicine and the process, and I have to explain something so clearly and precisely, which is relatively unseen, that animation will allow me to convey it through like imaging in a clear manner." And I looked and I said, wow, that's just such an interesting thought process, that they wanted to acquire the skills to make themselves a more effective communicator within their field. And
I think that's great.
that's it. It is, isn't it? It's great. And like sometimes with our academy, I scared around, do we put comic books or sequential art? And we kept the sequential art element because of that, the nature of that transferable skill between into it. And then, of course, outside of everything that you do at the Kubert School, you also have stellar career as well within field of comics as well. You're working on Space Ghost is a couple of things.
Space Ghost. Did Batman audio adventures. I've done fun little Superman thing. Doing some Green Lantern covers right now. But it was cool. Like I remember first getting into it and getting the first few jobs, and you're so excited, and still excited whenever I get a gig. It's one of the coolest things ever. But I've been able to work on all the things that I really enjoyed growing up as a kid too. So I got to work on Back to the Future, and I worked on Ghostbusters and Superman and Batman, all these different characters that I really, really loved growing up, and to be able to kind of put my fingerprints on it, just even if it's a little bit, I just think that that's one of the coolest things ever.
It really is. Like it's, when you get to work on a character, something that you've known, just to add your little, like sometimes people, who is your man? Timothy. He won at the Oscars recently. Not the Oscars. Something else he said, "I'm pursuing greatness," is what he said.
Okay.
I can't remember the actor's name. Something, a complete unknown, ironically, is the film he was in.
Talking to the wrong guy. I got.
Oh, is it Timothy Chalamet? That's it. Chalamet. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. But when he had this feature, like, "I'm in pursuit of greatness to be the greatest," and then for most, it's like just want to like chance to walk with the character, wants to have the piece, because to that person that's the greatest of all time. It's the stuff that you get to do, and it's amazing onto it. With when you are working on characters that you've kind of like you've admired for so long, are you intimidated by that process? Is the moment you go at first like, yes, can't wait, think, oh, all right, now I have to do it now? Or is it just a passion drives you through?
No, it's like they're old friends. I already know what they look like. It's like, all right, let's just go play. Let's hang out. And then you do what and that's to tell a story through pictures, and I sit down and do it, and it's great. I love doing it. It's just, like I said, it's one of the coolest jobs ever. I said it's literally, I get to be a big little kid. Put it that way.
What was it like with the Back to the Future projects? Was that a lot of back and forth on Licensing? So obviously that's new content.
They were so easy to work with.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So when I was in editorial, I worked in editorial as well at DC and Dynamite. I mean, we dealt with some licensors, no names given. They're extremely difficult, just nightmare scenarios. But the Back to the Future, when I was doing the covers and whatnot for them, they were great. We were dealing with Bob Gale directly, who was the writer of Back to the Future, and he was awesome to work with.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Have you seen the musical yet?
I have not.
Is that on the list? Are you like, nah, I'm good?
No, I heard it's actually very, very good. I wouldn't mind, but, I just feel I'm very busy a lot of times.
And trying to find time into it.
Just trying to find some extra time is difficult.
Well, I was last time I was in New York. It's gonna sound so dumb, but I did want to see it, but I couldn't figure out how to get to the ticket booth.
Oh,
That's a
really?
big building, and then there's a wall. I'm like, where is it? And then I think I found it when I was out. But what won me over was they had on the TV set just what's on New York, and they were saying that in the musical they're aware that people start breaking out a song in it, and I said, oh, that's kind of I like that conceit where they're aware this isn't normal, what's happening. And they were asking, I think it was Zemeckis, would you do another Back to the Future? And he goes, I'm only interested in adapting the musical into a film, and the studio just backed off.
I think it's scary to do a sequel to something after a really long time because you have to take into account the fans, right? And so now you're starting to play with something dangerous because they love the characters maybe even more than the creators do at a certain point. So, for example, they've already come up with the story in their head of, well, so-and-so and so-and-so lived happily ever after, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now if you come in and you change up that happily ever after, they're going to hate you. So
Fan backlash, that's a set, right?
Yeah. So you got to be really, really careful. Like, I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan.
Mm-hmm.
So when I watched Ghostbusters Afterlife, I was like, it was really nice. It was a nice little bow on this party. I think we can walk away from it. And then they did Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and I was just like, I was like, I don't know if we need any more Ghostbusters after this. I'm okay.
Someone unraveled the bow.
Yeah, I was like, why'd you do this? Why did we do this?
It's what's really great is with comics in particular. Sometimes people will. It's curious. If you're into sports, you could list off all these statistics of your favorite players and teams.
Yes.
In comics, you do the same, but because it's comics, people make easy pickings out of it. Same in sports, you support your team, you're very passionate, but then in comics, film, TV, you do the same for your show. We're just wired that way, I think, as people in general. But that's what's great about art is it evokes a response. That's what you want.
I think it's also because we're all human beings are storytellers.
Mm-hmm.
It's what we do. We love to tell stories. We interact. I can't think of the right word at the moment, but it's what we do. So we all are able to come up with what we want, right? And we have that, and it's special to us. So, like I said, once you mess around with that, you better run.
And how's your experience in Ireland been? This is your first time visiting, is it?
This is my first time. Yeah, this has been great. And I brought my wife and kiddos and my mother-in-law and sister-in-law. And everybody's having a really great time. We literally landed at 5:30 on, what was it, Thursday, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Thursday, 5:30, yeah.
So 5:30 in the morning, and then went to the hotel. And I was hoping and praying that a room was going to be ready.
Oh, yeah.
Please let me in.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, sorry. And so we went and got some breakfast, and then we went and checked out the Book of Kells over at Trinity College, and that was a really wonderful exhibit. And we went to the library, which was incredible. And then I feel like we did something else that day. It's all been a blur, really, to be quite honest. And then yesterday we went up to Belfast, and we saw, Belfast Castle, which is up on a very big hill. And so we had to walk because we took a bus. So we went up really nice. It was great. Felt good. And then from there, we went to the Titanic exhibit. That was really wonderful. It's very emotional at the end, too. It really hits you.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, you're always this, that's one of those things. It's like, it's a tragedy, right? And so at a certain point in it, you hear different things, and they have the testimonies from different folks that were involved in it. And it's pretty heartbreaking. And it hits you at the end, but that's really, it's nice to feel that too sometimes.
Yeah.
So, but it's been a really wonderful experience. The people are really cool. Everyone's really nice. I did get called an American. Walking back at one point, I was like, I don't know what you mean by that, but okay, man. But no, we had maybe it's because we like to laugh a lot. I don't know. We're really loud. So, but we had a really good time.
It's okay. I've already advised you on how to pronounce Paddy on Paddy's Day.
Yes, thank you for that.
That's the important one. I was saving your skin on that one. Trust me, you thank me later.
I've just been saying Patrick nonstop. Patrick's Day.
That's it. That's it. That's the safest stuff.
Try to find. We're here for St. Patrick's Day. It's going to be incredible.
Oh yeah, no, you're going to take in the parade now. I think we were just talking with Brittany before she left after doing the portfolio reviews about the crowd. It's gonna be something else.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I've had some good experiences with large nightmarish crowds. So, so I'm looking forward to this. I think it'll be a good time.
These tales in the mosh pit back in your youth, isn't it? That's another podcast.
That's another podcast. Yeah.
And is that anything you've been picking up on in terms of a comic scene here now? Like anything you've noticed where any of the artists, creators or the fans, or is it something very similar at home? Or do you notice that maybe there's a different taste or people zone in on different things here?
I think it's pretty similar, to be honest with you. Look, the comics community in general it's not overly large. It's smaller than people think it is. I have to explain that to people a lot. So, when you're in a community like the one that we're all a part of, it's nice to see folks being so supportive and helpful and wanting to see other people succeed. And that's the whole point of this too. And that's the point of the Kubert School, is that we're set up to be able to help people succeed and achieve what they really want to do.
That's beautiful. And as a rival school, we're locking you up so you don't get harmed.
You have the different philosophy. No, somebody was. We were talking about a restaurant that has like a speakeasy wall, and so we were all making jokes when we were eating lunch, and they're like, "Where's Anthony? Where is he?" I'm just locked behind some library wall and just banging on the other side at like the end of that movie with Matthew McConaughey, where he's in space for a while.
Oh, that's wonderful. Listen, I want to thank so much. Take time out of the con, come in, say a few words. You'll be doing an event as well, down with TASQ on Tuesday, which is great. I gotta ask Anthony for the record. You left-handed or right-handed?
I am right-handed. Yeah.
Thank God, because we set up the screen and then we have a camera set up. It's the first time. It's all new stuff. And Matt, who edits the podcast for me, he set up the camera for right-handed, and then he goes, "Is he left or right?" I'm like, he went right, and I realized I was just guessing. It's a 50-50 chance.
Hey, I think a majority of folks, what is the percentage? Do you know what it is off the top of your head of what percentage of people are right-handed compared to left-handed?
You know what's crazy? In our country, this might be in a Catholic Church thing throwback, but if you were left-handed, it was like, that's the devil, so they forced you to be right-handed. Yeah, so I couldn't honestly tell you. You're left-handed. Are you, Alistair? No, do you?
Well, ambidextrous on some tasks.
Oh, there you go.
Which is great. This is I don't know what percentage of those tasks would be.
The other day, Danny Earls did like his warm-up exercise. On with both hands.
You ever do that?
You know what? I haven't. It's weird. Do you ever swap between your hands where you'd be more dominant, let's say, in your right hand? Kind of like what you were saying there, Alistair. You'll write something, but then if you have to cut something, it has to be your left hand then instead. It's, I don't know. I'm wired different.
I've noticed if I draw like a face or something, I could do it at the same time, but if I'm drawing, for example, the head, I can't be drawing an arm at the same time with my, you know what I mean? So it's like if I'm working on the same spot, I can do it. It's just like kind of mirroring. It's the same thing as if you tap your fingers at the same time.
Was it there? Can't you do that? It's just tap your head, rub your belly. Stop those exercises.
No, but this has been really great, and I'm really enjoying the show. It's a really wonderful show, and for anybody listening that maybe if you haven't come out to the show, I really hope that you do, because it's a great place. Everyone's really, really nice. They got great guests, and they treat everyone fantastically. So don't be silly. Make sure you come out and check out the show.
I really appreciate that. It's a nice venue as well. It's creative.
It's beautiful.
I'm going to show you the other side of the lift view.
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
Just before we wrap up here, gents, any questions?
Yeah, like the Kubert School, because I've never been to it. Of course, it's sort of like, in my mind, it's Archie or Sabrina the Teenage Witch or something. It's a part international, sort of a different thing to hear, like our academy be smaller and everything. But do you think there's any particular class or discipline that you teach that you think, and rightly so, is like the Gauntlet? It's one of the harder late semester classes or something?
I mean, the narrative.
Yeah.
Narrative art, particular. I mean, that's the whole point of this, right? To be able to tell a story with your pictures.
You have a good hit rate with that difficult class, with people loving it after.
Yeah, no, I think we have always considered the Joe Kubert School to kind of be the boot camp of comic schools. So you know what you're getting into. We don't try to mince our words when we meet with folks and we sit down with them and talk about it. But look, when you go in, the whole thing's really the gauntlet, So if you can get through it, you earned your way through, But I always say if you need to focus in on some classes, basic drawing and narrative art in particular, and then study the heck out of perspective.
Going to send you over Alistair for a semester, knock some walk into learning. I already did. He was, no, he got great. Great.
That was good. We had a good talk.
It is. Beautiful. Awesome. Listen, any questions for yourself? Any advice for like young people trying to get into college?
Yeah, so I'll break it down into age groups. So for like little kids, and I'm talking, like anywhere, like, when they're really little, 5, whatever, and just let them doodle. And the same thing up until about they're around 12. So anywhere, just let them draw whatever it is that they want to draw. Let them have fun. Don't start. So many times parents come up and they're like, oh, my kid's the greatest artist in the world. And I just nod. And that's great. And I'm glad that you feel that way about your child. But don't press your own weirdness onto your kid. Like, let them enjoy what it is that they're doing. And don't turn it into a job for someone that's only 10, 11, 12 years old. Let them have fun with it, because if you start getting too serious with it, you're going to actually make them turn away from it. Then as they start getting a little bit older, that kind of like in between time, that like, I'd say that like 12 to 15 kind of range, maybe they could start practicing around with some more stuff, doing a little bit of things, but kind of like ease into it. So for every 3 drawings that they do that they're having a great time doing, give them something or make a recommendation. Hey, why don't you try drawing something that's a little more difficult for you? Why don't you draw some hands? Why don't you draw a car? I think we all have a tendency when we're younger to just want to draw the cool superhero pose. So you know what? Hey, draw 2 figures just walking and holding hands. It's more difficult than people think it is. All right, great. Then, all right, hey, maybe you know what? You should, why don't we start studying some perspective? Maybe we should start studying some anatomy. Then we start adding in some narrative classes, and you start building it up that way, and then you build up their portfolios. But make sure that they're drawing everything too. Draw trees, draw cars, draw homes, draw buildings, draw planes and clouds, sky, anything, bricks, rocks, anything. Because as a comic book artist, you have to draw it all. It's not just people in spandex fighting, and I think that's a big misconception. There's a lot of stuff going on in books. So to be able to kind of have that kind of built up gradually throughout the years, it'll help you out so much once you really want to get into it.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, I think, particularly when it's kids, the sponges. So
Yeah, they love it.
Yeah, let's put the tools at it. I have a niece who's 2. Yes, and then I have a nephew who's 5, and Christmas brought them down because I like visiting sometimes with the academy setup and they're drawing. And what I was amazed at is, particularly my niece, who must have been still 1 at the time, holding the pencil, but the way she holds, it's learning the way. It's like we were all like that at some stage. Like, it's something new, and then you have to learn how to hold it, and then you form your way to draw. And yeah, it's interesting. You could teach, mimic, but then we all find our own way. It's a journey, isn't it? 100%. It's a journey. So I want to thank you so much for taking the time again, for your kind words towards the show, for taking our questions. I hope you enjoyed the rest of the show. And thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys soon. Thank you.
Thanks again.
Thanks again, everyone, for joining us for this episode. Come back again next week for part 2 with Anthony, where he's going to be talking more about his career and also providing a live demo in front of an audience with TASQ art as well. That's going to be a real treat. In the intro, I also mentioned that Brittany Hosier was present for that talk as well at TASQ art. But Brittany was not permitted to record her particular talk. So again, just for folks who might be subscribing or following us online with TASQ art, we will always try and endeavour to share a lot of content with you guys online, but we can't always guarantee that everything we do will be recorded. So if you want to ensure that you never miss out, consider becoming an Academy member. What this entails in terms of Academy membership is that we'll support you with our exclusive studio space, so you can actually come to our office here at the Edge Dublin and avail of our resources, which includes a full A3 printer scanner, everything you need to bind and produce your very own in-house comic book, light boxes, inks, full digital suites as well. And in addition to it, you'll be invited to every talk and masterclass that we have upcoming, and an access to our full back catalogue of recorded classes as well. If that's not all, you'll also have the opportunity to participate in our events at such conventions like Dublin Comic Con also. So if you would like to learn more about Academy membership and to keep in touch and experience these really interesting networking events that we host, like what we've just heard with Anthony, feel free to email me at info@tasqart.com. And I'll see you guys back here again next week for part 2 with Anthony. Until then, this has been a copyright production of Macaulay Consultancy 2025.